In a matter of days, millions of Americans are set to lose extra benefits they've been receiving thanks to coronavirus relief legislation. This is going to happen even as the pandemic gets worse here. A bipartisan group of lawmakers introduced a nearly $1 trillion relief plan. But as of now, Mitch McConnell not getting on board with that proposal at all. Joining us now, one of the lawmakers part of the plan, Independent Senator Angus King of Maine. Senator, thanks so much. Let me just lay out what's in this plan. $160 billion for state and local government funding. There is additional money for an extension of unemployment benefits, also money for small businesses. Why is this $900 billion plan with bipartisan support the right one?
Well, it is the right one, and it was worked out on a bipartisan basis. Importantly, John, not just by a group of 9 senators, but a group of House members from both parties. We now have an announced 50 supporters in the House, 25 Democrats, 25 Republicans. We have 4 Republicans, 4 Democrats, and me in the Senate. And we really tried to come to a middle ground, and we got tired of waiting, frankly. And I don't understand what the majority leader's problem is. But, John, there's an important thing about the majority leader that isn't in the civics books, and that is that he or she has absolute power over what comes to the floor of the U.S. Senate. We could have a bill supported by 99 senators, and if the majority leader said, I'm not going to bring it up, it doesn't come up. And there's no mechanism seriously to make that happen. So he's got to listen, and I'm hoping he's going to listen to the members of his caucus saying, look, we need to do something. It's urgent. People are going to be losing benefits. People are going to be losing their places to live. They're going to be evicted. Schools are going to have really serious problems. We've got to do something, and we put forward a good faith effort to make that happen.
You see, I don't know what the majority leader's problem is. His plan that he's laying out is half, if that, of what you're suggesting, doesn't include any state and local government aid at all. If that's the only thing that gets to the floor, is that better than nothing?
Well, that's a decision we're going to have to make. I mean, this business of no help for the states and localities, I don't get. I mean, what we have here, John, is a natural disaster. It's a biological hurricane, if you will, and it's striking some states more seriously than others, although I just looked last night, there's something like 25 Republican-dominated states, red states, that are in serious financial difficulty, both in their localities and in their states. So it's not just a blue state problem. But what really bothers me is, you know, I bet you I voted on 10 or 12 or 15, I don't know how many, natural disaster bills for various parts of the country. And it never occurred to me to ask, well, is this a blue state or a red state that's going to get this money? If Florida gets hit by a hurricane, we give them some help. And we're one country. And that's really what this is all about. And somehow at the beginning of this, Senator McConnell got into his head this, he used the term blue state bailout. And it's simply trying to help states and localities that are struggling to keep, for example, first responders on the payroll. Otherwise, states can't borrow like the federal government, and they're going to either have to raise taxes or cut expenditures, which means laying people off, and that's just not a practical alternative. I really wish the majority leader would take a broader view of this and realize this is really important. And by the way, what we're proposing in this framework is less than half of what the National Governors Association said that we really need.
And it's half of what the president had said he would accept a few months ago. On the majority leader, President-elect Joe Biden did an interview with Thomas Friedman, columnist for the New York Times, overnight, and he talked about working with Mitch McConnell going forward. This is what Biden said. He said, I think there are trade-offs that not all compromise is walking away from principle, Biden added. He knows me, I know him. I don't ask him to embarrass himself to make a deal. So President-elect Biden is holding out hope to be able to work with Mitch McConnell. How much hope realistically do you have that that will be successful?
Well, I think that the real question is, what does his caucus think? And if he gets enough members of the Republican caucus, and by the way, we had a number come forward yesterday saying we think this is a good plan. We'd like to be involved. So if there's sort of a growing momentum there, he's going to work with his caucus, and I hope that he understands that this is really something important for the country, and the issue of assistance for state and localities. Look, they're really hurting, and many of them, and ironically, there's a lag here where states that are just going into the real crisis mode are going to see the fiscal impact in a month or two. They may think they're okay now, and then they're going to find out their revenues are collapsing. So it should be an essential part of this. It was a hard-fought negotiation in our group, but I think it makes a lot of sense.
Let me ask you about one piece of other news. We learned remarkably overnight that the Attorney General, William Barr, has appointed John Durham to be a special counsel to investigate the origins of the Russia investigation. Now, you supported a bill in the last Congress that would make it harder to fire a special counsel. Now that John Durham is a special counsel, hey, what do you make of that decision? And do you still stand by the idea that it should be harder to dismiss a special counsel?
Yeah, I believe that if you appoint a special counsel, they should have some protection so that they're not able to be removed politically, wherever that political motivation is coming from. So, yeah, I stick with that position. I don't understand the appointment. John Durham was appointed months and months and months ago to look into the origins of the Russia investigation. Apparently, he hasn't found anything. I don't know what he's going to find in another couple of months. As you know, John, I worked on this for 4 years now with the Senate Intelligence Committee. I can tell you there's nothing for him to find. There's been investigation on top of investigation that found that the Russia investigation had a solid basis, and they had to go forward with that investigation based upon the information they had in the summer of 2016. So I don't know what this appointment means, except perhaps to just be a burr under the saddle of President Biden. But I don't think it's going to go anywhere because there's nowhere for it to go.